Hello, welcome back, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain the rom-com film, I'm Not an Easy Man. Watch out and take care. Damien is a blatant chauvinist who works for a male-dominated marketing firm. He happily takes use of all the advantages of living in a patriarchal society. He enjoys dominating the women he encounters and treats them like things for his enjoyment. Damien's boss, Marco, adores him and regularly assigns him major projects and tasks. He has a close friend and neighbor named Christophe Lamy, who is a well-known writer. During the launch of Chris's new book, Damien meets Alexandra, his new gorgeous helper. He's dating Sybil, but it doesn't stop him from flirting with other ladies. He pursues Alexandra, but she is put off by his chauvinist demeanor and rejects him. Damien and Sybil ask Chris's pregnant wife Lolo and their 2 children if they can come over for supper to celebrate Chris's book launch. However, Lolo is in a terrible mood and declines their invitation, stating that she cannot have guests around on a school night. Damien and Chris quickly know Lolo is furious because Chris has forgotten her birthday yet again. After Lolo has left with the children, the 2 friends go out to buy her flowers. Damien, being Damien, makes advances at random girls on the street. Damien becomes sidetracked when whistling at a female and smacks his head on an electric pole, knocking himself out. When he opens his eyes, he discovers a female medic caring for him. After gathering himself, Damien runs into Sybil and Lolo, who are on a date. Before leaving, the latter requests that Chris look after the children. While driving back home, Damien complains about being cold and about his jeans being too tight. Chris speculates that it could be due to his sagging balls and proposes that he seek a cosmetic operation to remedy it. Damien laughs off the offer, believing it's a joke, but he has no idea Chris is dead serious. Damien returns to his flat and puts on a warm muffler and a packet of chili peas on his head. He watches TV to entertain himself, but for some reason, he notices that every show on TV objectifies males rather than women. Damien wakes up the next morning and goes to get ready for work, only to discover that his wardrobe is full with short, brightly colored garments. He dresses for work in gray sweatpants and a tight white t-shirt. He realizes that the majority of his co-workers are now women, who make inappropriate comments about his body and attractiveness. Damien's co-worker Sophie takes him to her office and informs him that his proposal was not chosen by the firm. She describes his humor as sensitive and informs him that the clientele want more feminine and vulgar humor. Thus a female employee was hired. Damien is taken aback and requests to speak with Marcus. When Marco enters, Damien is taken aback to find him serving coffee. Damien erupts and warns Sophie that she is making a huge mistake by not choosing his project. Sophie, enraged, advises him to tone down his hormones before firing him. Damien, perplexed, walks into a pub and finds 2 men wearing veils. He panics and rushes to his parents' restaurant. He notices his mother mincing the meat while his father entertains the customers. Upon seeing Damien, his father begins nagging him about settling down, while his mother defends him. The world seems to have spun on its head. Damien, terrified, returns to the electric pole from earlier in the film and knocks his head on it, hoping to teleport back to the old world but failing. He meets Sybil for drinks that night. At the bar, Sybil orders beer instead of champagne, and barely clad guys entertain the customers. Yet Damien appears to be getting his bearings in this new environment. Sybil then goes to Damien's flat to have sexual relations, but she is turned off by his hairy chest and storms out. Damien discusses his employment predicament with Chris and Lolo, who encourage him to seek aid from a masculist organization that fights workplace discrimination against men. Lolo goes into labor unexpectedly and is brought to the hospital, where she gives birth to a baby while hanging from a bar. Chris's supervisor, revealed to be Alexandra, is upset that he is taking paternity leave. However, Chris vows to find someone to take his position, and an unemployed Damien jumps at the chance. Prior to assigning Damien to work for Alex, Damien gets a makeover from Chris. He trims his hair, threads his brows, shaves his armpits, chest hair, and hair down below. Damien, who is dressed in booty shorts, then goes to work for Alex. a dominating seductress and successful writer. Alex lives in a nice mansion and appears to enjoy collecting marbles. When she meets Damien, she notices his height and orders him to prepare her coffee. She then offers him a checklist of things to accomplish before leaving. Damien sees her housekeeper Martel, who lavishes her with praise and claims that only women can write decent novels, which offends Damien. After slaving away all day, Damien becomes frustrated, and when Alex returns, he informs her that he is not cut for this job or this world. When he says he can't live in a world where women tell him what to do, Alex urges him to save his masculist diatribe for someone else. He contacts Sybil for solace, only to have her leave him dissatisfied when she finishes before helping him climax. Damien and Chris, fed up with the matriarchal world, join a masculist gang named Tit for Tat. The group is notorious for wearing fake boobs and holding anti-matriarchy protests. Meanwhile, Alex has the epiphany that a masculist character in her new book may be revolutionary, and she begins writing her book with Damien as inspiration. After his father continues to pressurize him to settle down, Damien receives a text message from Alex and resolves to meet her. At the bar, Alex tells him that the world he keeps mentioning is fascinating. She claims that it isn't so horrible for ladies because they get gifts and have guys hold doors open for them. Over drinks, Damien eagerly lectures her about the patriarchal world. He had a few too many drinks in his system. Damien tries to kiss Alex, but she tells him she doesn't take advantage of inebriated men and sends him home in a cab. Alex had filmed her talk with Damien, which she showed to her supervisor Annie Meyer the next day. Alex informs her that she wants to demonstrate to the world that even masculists rely on women. She intends to make Damien fall in love with her in order to finally shatter his heart and teach him a lesson. Annie likes the idea and requests that the writing sample be placed on her desk as soon as feasible. As Alex continues to court Damien, he informs Chris that he will no longer be able to work for Alex because he is dating her. This bothers Chris because he is concerned that he will not be able to return to work after his paternity leave finishes. The two argue, and Damien brings up the issue that his wife does not respect him. Chris, upset, tells Damien not to speak to him again. Alex and Damien spend more time together and eventually have sexual relations. Damien is unaware that she has recorded them having it. Alex invites him to her office gatherings and even introduces him to Annie. Throughout their relationship, Alex has extramarital affairs with various men, one of whom vandalizes her home for using him. Meanwhile, Damien, blinded by love, irons her shirt and conducts errands for her. Damien is eventually forgiven by Chris. When Chris informs him of Lolo's infidelity, Damien consoles him and offers to remain by his side no matter what. Meanwhile, Alex makes a point of hiding her writing samples from Damien, which only piques his interest. He requests to see it, but she changes the subject and invites him to work for her. Damien declines the offer, stating that he has applied for a job at a bar because he does not want to be reliant on her. He claims he wants to be on equal footing with her, which upsets her. While Alex is away, a man named Daffodil shows up unannounced at her house. Daffodil appears upset and barges into Alex's room. Damien is concerned and texts Alex, who encourages him to call the cops on him. Daffodil sprays small tits on her bedroom wall and tells Damien that the marbles on her shelf represent each male conquest she has had. Daffodil, who is crying, tells him that she made him feel smart and worthy just to make him feel foolish in the end. Damien is shocked by the findings and confronts Alex about the marbles. He wonders if he is just another marble for her. Alex refuses to accept responsibility and instead gaslights him. Damien then walks away, unhappy. Damien begins to see a therapist. Meanwhile, Alex sends her first sample to her publisher, who likes it and can't wait to read the rest. Alex, on the other hand, has begun to have reservations about the story because she believes it is harsh. She recommends other novel ideas to Annie, but she declines and instructs her to finish the rest of her manuscript. Alex decides against writing the manuscript after much contemplation and informs Annie of her decision. Meanwhile, Chris tosses Lolo out of the house, and she ends up staying at Damien's place. Lolo admits to cheating on Chris when pregnant and her hormones were rampaging. She regrets cheating on him and wants Damien to persuade Chris to accept her back. Alex apologizes and returns to Damien's life. He doesn't waste any time in proposing marriage to her, and to his surprise, she accepts. Chris is persuaded to forgive Lolo by Damien and his father. Damien tells his father about Alex as well. The following day, Damien and Chris join the masculist group Tit for Tat in protesting a French college that solely honors female writers. Damien encounters Annie at the venue, who recognizes him. When Annie asks him smugly if he has nothing better going on in his life, Chris joyfully informs her that Damien is in fact marrying Alex. Damien mocks her, noting that some women are more open-minded than others. However, Annie steals his grin and pride when she informs him that Alex is already married. Surprised by the revelation, Damien rushes up to Alex. Damien gets Martel into handing him the keys to her flat when he discovers her door is locked. Damien searches through her possessions after breaking into her home and discovering her marriage certificate. Hurt, he destroys her room. Meanwhile, Alex is on her way to her husband's house to pick up her daughter. Before leaving, Alex informs him that she has filed for divorce and that he must sign the paperwork this time. Alex then goes home with her daughter, and Martel informs her that Damien has dropped by. When she returns home, she discovers that it has been completely demolished. Alex discovers her writing samples on the floor and knows Damien is aware of the novel. Alex searches for Damien everywhere. Meanwhile, Chris receives a call from his friend Erica, who informs him that Damien is out of his mind intoxicated at her pub and that several girls are pestering him. After that, Lolo and Chris run to the bar. They meet Alex outside their flat and inform her about Damien. Alex follows them to the pub, where an elderly lady is attempting to rape an intoxicated Damien. Lolo fights off the elderly woman's friends, while Alex discovers the old woman lying on the ground. She rushes to Damien's side, concerned, but he pushes her away. Alex realizes her error and tells the truth about the novel and the recordings, but Damien is even more unhappy because he only learned about the marriage and not the novel and recordings. Damien hits her because he feels cheated. Alex tries to explain herself, but the two accidentally headbutt one another, knocking themselves out. Alex then awakens in an ambulance surrounded by male medics. She rushes out of the ambulance and realizes she is in a patriarchal society. The streets are strewn with obscene ads that objectify women. The film concludes with her noticing a feminist march, and among its members is Damien, who screams out for her. The end. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.